Hey guys, I'm Ryan. I've been hacking things my whole life. I've run a Durham maker shop called Hack Lab. I want to talk about this Magic the Gathering box, but in full disclaimer, I don't know what I'm talking about with Magic the Gathering. I just started playing. I don't know the vernacular or the words around it. Just bear with me. But I did make this box. I did find inspiration on some ideas on Etsy, so in full disclosure, I'm making my own things based on what I'm seeing. So I made this mechanical box that has a lock, which locks in a set of cards. Okay, so it holds 100 deck cards. They are sleeved, but they're not the big sleeve. There's a lot to this game and a lot to it that I am over my head with the knowledge, but I do know how to make a laser box. So I'm going to talk to you about 10 things that I learned making this laser box. Welcome to the Hack Lab. So I made the box and everything out of this 3mm birch. The first lesson that I learned is this will warp. You need to be able to store your materials in a very non-humid location and understand that flat boards in laser cutting go together. You want your boards to be flat as you can. So when they come in the Ziploc bag, whether they all come wrapped up, you're going to want to maintain that flatness. So do some research on your storage of materials. These are about 75 cents each. I bought about 50 of them for $40, so they're a really good product. Of course, I went ahead and stained it. The next thing that I learned with building out this box is that test things. Make sure you go ahead and the tab and slots with the actual material is you have to test each individual thing before you go ahead and laser cut the entire thing. I cut this out on my brand new Nova 35. It's 35 inches and it has an RF tube, so it's really powerful. But make sure that you do testing before you design everything around it. Go ahead and test the slots. The next thing is it might be nice as you're designing the intricacies of what's happening here, and I have the file down below so you can modify the files. Like I added 2 gears, so the switch is up here and the switch has a little type of key that goes into this key and it will open up the box or you can drop the box. So when it's closed, the box is held there and then it opens up the box as you open it up. Okay, so the next thing is the colors. Like I have orange gears and I have different things in this mechanical box. You might want to go ahead and in the Illustrator file, Inkscape, or Fusion file, go ahead and make, when you're designing it, it really is helpful to know what you're going to finally paint everything, okay, as you're designing this box. So there's a variety of different sleeves for the cards. I went ahead and just ordered a bunch of sleeves and things and spent around 20 bucks to get some inexpensive Magic the Gathering cards and sleeves. So I was able to design a series of boxes around that. Once you get the box designed and you're going a little bit slow and you're measuring everything, the next thing you need to understand is even if you used a file, is that you need to test your settings so that they're not too much, they're not too powerful, so that when you're lasering something, if you don't engrave properly, you're going to be churning through a bunch of time that you don't need to be. So make sure you optimize your settings. Just because you can cut through something doesn't mean that it's right. Maybe you're using too much power or maybe you can increase your speed. So nail down your settings for 3mm birch. And there's a nice library with my printer, but there's online. Make sure you take the time to build up the library in Lightburn so that you can be efficient about these. So if I were to put 10 of these for the flea market or for some craft fair, I would want to make sure that my settings were really locked in, which means efficient. Okay, fast is possible. Another thing that I learned is I absolutely used air, a lot of air. I hooked up my air compressor to my laser cutter and that will help with a lot of things and it's honestly a lot safer with that. Now, one of the big things that I learned is that when you're going ahead and you're painting this with walnut, it's best just to go ahead and pre-paint the boards. I know, just take this board here, whatever it's going to be, and just pre-paint it. That's why I was telling you it would be neat in their design if you knew what the colors were ahead of time. Then you could go and pre-treat this, and as long as you're using really good settings or masking tape, you won't have that cauterization, and it was a lot less tedious to do that. And also, the glue that you're going to be using to assemble this won't adhere inside the wood. So pre-treating the wood or pre-painting the wood or pre-staining the wood is really a best practice when it comes to doing that. So just go ahead and get all your materials printed. It actually seals them, and it avoids that sort of warpage issue that you may. Now, the next thing I learned is it's nice to have a good variety of clamps and rubber bands when you're doing the assembly. If you're going to be making more of these or making them for gifts or Christmas or for birthday presents, and you're going to be doing some custom engraving, because everything sells for more when you do custom engraving. If you put engraved your favorite logo or one of the Magic the Gathering logos on it, you're going to get more money. But you need to understand that what needs to happen with that is that when you glue it together, you need to be able to have a jig, which means come up with different things that make your process easier. Using rubber bands is fine, but when you're doing a box like this, you might want to go ahead and just cut out a holder for the box that holds all of the edges together. And so if you're doing one, don't enjoy the process, just make one. But if you're doing multiple, consider taking the time and making jigs or gluing containers so that it's nice and square, because this has to fit in here really nice and smooth, okay? So that's it. This is another thing, is just because you can engrave doesn't mean that you need to on the first pass. Okay, this area is for customization. Okay, I can put any texture. If I had someone that wanted to buy it, or if you download the file, you can put your customization there. But when you're making your first box, don't do those expensive operations in terms of time. I meant expensive in terms of wasting your time. Just try to get it right and build it out. This was really enjoyable to build. It was a puzzle within itself. And so far, I'm actually enjoying building different boxes that have these sort of mechanical features in them, because it's using a part of my brain that's just making me very happy. And maybe that's why you play Magic the Gathering. So even if you used a regular deck boxes, or if you wanted to create like a euchre deck box, like we play euchre when we're on a cruise ship, maybe you could use the same box and just shrink down the actual height of that box. And then I would say the last two things that I would talk about is that when you're thinking about adding different, like how you connect different things, like how do you connect these layers? Harbor Freight has some really inexpensive hex bolts. Consider using those over laser cut tabs or laser cut fasteners. This is a much nicer look having this angled Allen bolt than it would be to make a sort of a laser pin. So I designed them to hold bolts, and those will be connected, or even if they're superficial, they can be added after it's all said and done. And then the final thing is, it absolutely needs a clear coat. I didn't put a clear coat, and I can actually feel this, but if you could use a satin and then sand it down, that would be integral. I'm not sure what I would sell these for, but I will tell you, if you customize it, it's worth your time. And someone's going to respect your time, and it's going to be a gift. I would say anywhere between $30 to $60 a final after everything is assembled and done. And you could probably include 100 cards, inexpensive cards, for the gift. Anyways, whatever you do, make something that matters. Thank you for joining me today on the Hack Lab. I appreciate you.